on your path, you will notice, after a while, of course, just like I've noticed, that I cannot be with people a lot. I don't want to be with them. I like to be by myself. I cannot be with others. And it just feels right to be with me. And if you live with someone, or if you live with your mom or dad or whoever, or whatever, if you're not living alone, at times actually it's a great opportunity for you, while you are living with someone, really maintain the purity of your vibrational frequency by being with yourself only. And this is exactly what I have. I like to be with me, and currently I'm living with my mom, and my mom has it's hard for her to understand that why am I wanting to be so much with me? So a lot of times I go into my computer room, or I go to my bedroom, or it doesn't matter where you go, if you have some little safe personal space. And when I write, I'm in my computer room, but when I just just relax and just move or dance or whatever I want to do in that moment, and just be with me, I fully can be with me. I could just close the door, and just me. It's just me, my space, exactly my space. And I have more and more needs for my space and me time, and that feels wonderful. It just feels so wonderful to be with me. And I can no longer keep forcing myself into being with people when I don't feel like it. This is exactly the freedom that we all have, that in the past we have spent more time with people that we did not even want to, or did not like to, or whatever. Maybe you were in a marriage that it was like, getting harder and harder because you did not have your own time, really your own space. You did not allow yourself. And a lot of people, and we have those stages and periods when we really just doing things in the external world, and we think that we will be happy by being in the external world, or achieving things, or doing things, and interacting with people. But I think true happiness is really, you will find your true happiness is when you really, really learn how to maintain the purity of your vibrational space. And that means that you are going to be alone by yourself. And I never feel alone. I just enjoy myself so much when I'm with me. And I actually remember, like 10 years ago or whenever, I was always seeing myself by myself in my future. Funnily enough, this is how I pictured myself, even at the time when I was married, or with someone. And that image always felt so good. So even at that time when I was really, really actually craving to be alone, and that's how I felt the best when I was alone. you see, it's all there. Your soul, it's basically you just know what would feel fulfilling for you. And when I started and gave workshops for people and stuff, and after a while, I was going and walking home from a workshop of mine, and I thought, it's not a big deal. I thought that I'm gonna be happy by giving workshops. and and funnily enough, I was not fulfilled by that. Yeah, I mean, it gave me some kind of a form or a satisfaction to a certain degree. But there's nothing really out there that really soothed my soul. There was nothing soothing to that, in that sense. Nothing fulfilled me in the external. And of course, depending on where you're at on your journey, you might have something else. You might be in this action world where really action makes you happy, or interacting with other people makes you happy because you're still on the level of consciousness where relationships are giving you the fulfillment. It depends where you're at. And there are people around me who are really perfectly happy with interacting all the time with other people. But that doesn't giving me anything. I mean, don't misunderstand me. I have times and I love to speak to people, but I like my own time. And when I don't feel like talking, I just don't want to talk. I just want to be with me. And I think a lot of us wasted their energy with countless and useless interactions even when our heart and soul was craving for your time, me time, and we did not allow ourselves to be with ourselves, really, without constantly doing something or interacting or whatever. So what I'm telling you is make a little soul search within yourself. Go inward. Put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, ask your soul, what are you craving? What are you really craving? Because your mind will come up with all kinds of ideas, which is fun and great and whatever. But when you see that you're creating in the external and nothing really gives you the soul food which you're craving, it's a mind construct. And mind construct won't make you happy. Only your heart and soul, whatever your soul is craving at this moment or at this time. So we just really go inward, make a sacred space. It can be on a walk, it can be on a day where you go hiking, or I don't know, whatever your pleasure is. You maybe go to a park and sit on a bench like Eckhart Tolle did, I do that a lot, and just go out there. Although we have a huge garden, but when you are not living alone, people want to talk to you constantly, unless they're sleeping or, and especially people who are still on too much attached to the material world in that sense, to action and talking and, all that. But, you just discover how being quiet with yourself feels so good. Not talking, not even wasting your breath. And, maybe you are already there where I am, and you just want to condense your energy and just, really just and be with you. Like I just thought the other day, I definitely have to go someplace. I just want to go and just be by myself. Maybe rent a little shack somewhere around the lake, or just be there, nothing there. No phone, no, maybe just take something that you can write on, or just take a, recording something, a device, and maybe just record your thoughts, write it down. If it's faster, record it, and just be with you. And the more I'm looking into my ideal feeling of craving and surroundings, I see myself alone, living somewhere by myself, maybe at a lake, maybe at a beach, maybe at a beach house, where I can just be on the beach and draw and paint and write and illustrate my own writings and or just be at a lake. I can imagine even being in the forest somewhere in between mountains, and that pure fresh air. But I also love the beach, and there is always water. Somewhere there is always water, because water teaches us to flow with life. Water teaches us to accept life, and really trust the flow, and trust ourselves, and accept ourselves unconditionally, and just accept things the way they are, but not in that passive level of, no choice in that sense, because basically you accept things, but a lot of people misunderstand things, and they think that acceptance of life means that you, for example, just going to an example, because a lot of people misunderstand the things if you don't really come up with some particular story. For example, maybe you have a husband who hits you. Maybe, there are some unpleasant circumstances. In that sense, of course, you know that you are the creator, because every abuse is self-abuse. And I lived through certain things myself. And eventually you really just see and recognize that it was your own vibrational frequency which made you experience these things. It had to be cleared out. So you accept that there are things like that, okay? You look at it from an observer point of view, and then you decide if you still want to live in that and you still want to create such situations. And then you really go inward and see how you can clear that frequency. This is what I do anyway. But it's just, maybe this weekend is just a good time to reflect, because all these new energies that are coming in, and of course there's always something, and evolution is ongoing. But, it's a new time starting, a new adventure, a new cycle of our lives. A lot of us really stepping into a new cycle. And it's just kind of like reflecting on things, what you've learned, what you see, and on the observer thing, on the level, and just say, okay, so this is clear to me. I'm just leaving everything behind. I no longer need. I've learned it. I've understand it. I've transcended it in my consciousness. I know exactly. I really do have those insights. Those are my insights. They are not on an informational level, meaning you read it in a book and then you still did not really recognize that within yourself, because until it's on an informational level, it is not yours. You won't be able to apply it. So whenever that birth of recognition comes, and that birth of realization on your own within yourself, and it's really like a light bulb that comes on, then you own it. Then you own it. Then that is not an information anymore, it's wisdom. So basically, and of course there is the integration part, and then of course you really apply it. That's when it really sinks in. That's when your new new you is born. That's it goes step by step. It's little baby steps, but this is how it works. So maybe it's a great time this weekend to do some soul searching. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste. Bye. Talk to you soon.